Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of our hearts be pleasing in your sight, O Lord. Amen. Most of you know that recently I made a trip to Fargo, North Dakota, and partook in the Faith Community Nurse of the Parish Nurse Program. And I heard a story about a wealthy architect. He was trying to get the building community to get behind him on a project that he was attempting to get started, where they were going to build a dormitory style building for the homeless. The dorm would hold between 75 and 120 people for a period of 1 to 60 days. And everybody knew in the community that his home was the epitome of an architect's home. It was gorgeous. And every year at his home, he would have all of his highbrow friends come for a night of entertainment and a wonderful meal. But recently, the architect changed his invitation tactics. Instead of mailing gold-engraved invitations, he put a want ad in the Fargo Forum that simply said, "Come to a masquerade party." The print was no larger than any other ad that was in there, and it was wedged between the topics of help for unwed mothers and blood donors needed. Underneath that heading was just simply the details. The guests should wear something to conceal their identity, or they wouldn't get in. As usual, he had the date, the time, and the location, but no mention was made of the name of the individual that was throwing the party. Regardless, his friends recognized the address, and they knew that this was the party of the year. But all of a sudden, they started to say these things. Oh my God, can you imagine what would happen if anybody and everybody were to show up for this party? How are you going to feed them all? Just suppose somebody turns up that you didn't invite. Other of his friends praised him for his daring and his ingenuity. I just think this is one of the most interesting and cleverest invitation and approach to getting us to dinner. The lady that chaired the fundraising activity for this dormitory. And so the night arrived. The night was early fall. It was kind of warm out there, and so people in their cars drove up, got out in their masquerade masks and costumes. They even had an orchestra playing. The staff greeted them with finger foods and drinks, and everybody was having a great time. He even heard the questions. Was that the president of the computer corporation who was wearing a gorilla suit? Who's that behind the medieval armor? Was that the local doctor? The ballerina looked kind of familiar. Was that the wife of the bank president? And who was that one in the football player's costume? Then the question was, and who's that hobo over there? And over there? And over there? There were quite a few homeless hobos there that evening. Perhaps the wealthy of the city had decided it would be their chance to dress up like they'd never been able to dress before. Too bad so many of them had the same idea. There was also a number of what we would call female cast-off, because there were waitresses, cleaning ladies. Just nobody knew. Nobody knew. As the evening progressed, the questions started going around, well, where's the host? Where's the architect? I'll bet he's been wandering around this great group of people all night long and hearing us as we talk not only about him, but the projects that he's involved with. To the chagrin of some of them, they said, oh my God, I hope not, because I've said things to you all that I don't want him to hear. Someone else said, oh, is he in for a rude awakening? Because I was just in the ladies' room. And you know what? There was just this withered hag that came walking in and goes to the vanity and washes her hands, and then she washed her face. And guess what? There wasn't the mask on her. It was real. Good heavens. Wait till the host finds out about that. Did she just sneak in for a free meal? Or is this going to be a kink in his plan for this party? Well, somebody said it deserves him right. What sort of an idiot would set up a dinner party and announce it in the Sunday classified ads? At 9 o'clock, the butler rang a little bell, and everybody came pouring out of the house, past the pool, past the tennis court, out into the yard. And about that time, this hobo-looking man, grimy, drunken, filthy hair, cast-off clothes, jumped up on a small wall and announced in a loud voice, it's time to take off the masks. First of all, his friends were just gasping. Oh my God, who is this guy? Trying to steal the attention from the architect. Then the architect said, or the hobo said, I'll go first, and you guessed it. It was the architect himself. First of all, there was murmurs and laughter and applause and shouts of acclamation and congratulation. Truly, he would get the prize for the best costume. So all the masks came off. And the surprise lasted about 3 minutes, because then something very hauntingly occurred. Over half the guests didn't have masks to take off. It was real. These people were not used to going to fine parties, the host said. It took a lot of effort on my part to convince them to come here tonight and partake. Because they were concerned that you, my friends, wouldn't accept them. You wouldn't want to sit down and eat with them. In fact, I really wanted to find out just exactly what kind of friends you were. You see, the conversations of all my get-togethers in the past were beginning to get stale. The direction of everything I was doing was going in the same direction. So the city engineer recently approached me and said, we've got a tenement building. It's going to be torn down. I would like you, as an architect, to draw a plan to make rooms for the homeless, the downtrodden, sick. So as I got started with this tenement project, I soon realized lot of the people that currently live there who are going to be kicked out of their home. We're going to demolish it. So I continue to work on this project without charging them a fee, because I got involved with this building project. And now we need to build a dormitory for the poor, the dirty, the homeless, to live in during the period of time that they can either get back on their feet, get help for their health issues, or just be out of the weather during the long winter conditions that we are experiencing here in Fargo-Moorhead. As I mentioned at the first part of our service, 48 below zero. From Fargo to Duluth to International Falls. You go outside in that weather, less than 15 minutes, you're suffering from hypothermia. You go to sleep and you die. I realized that some of you, my good friends, he said, probably would benefit from meeting them as well. That's why I had all of you come to the same dinner party. Now I realize that some of you may not be quite ready to accept these folks. In fact, I did circulate amongst you tonight and heard some of the things you were saying. And if you can't identify with these new people, I'll understand. As we come in to eat the banquet, you don't want to be sitting next to one of them. I will understand that if you just care to leave, that won't bother me. If you want to truly become a part of that community and help them, sit down, talk to them. So the meal was served. The dirty, the poor, the homeless, who weren't wearing masks, came and sat down first. Then the friends of the host were invited to find a seat. Sit next to them. But those that stayed for the banquet had one whale, a sumptuous meal. So I've learned a few things from this story. The first one is that God turns up in the strangest places. As I teach my Bible study class throughout the week, I pose that question to my class members. How many of you have seen the face of God right here at First United Methodist Church or right here in North Little Rock? Every one of them raised their hands. I look at it a little differently. How fortunate are we to be on the great architect's banquet list. He invites us to come and partake. As we experienced this morning in Waypoint, as we experienced at Christmas Eve, and as we will experience next Sunday, we are all invited to the architect's meal. He didn't have to include us, you know. But he said, yes, you're all invited. He gets involved with the people who inhabit his creation. The striking thing is that the architect disguises himself so that he can identify with all of us. As you welcomed each other today, you see the face of God, the hand you shook. The striking thing is that as he disguises himself, that he can identify with them, and he can suffer with them as he did so many years ago. The architect in Fargo decided that his guest list had become too narrow. As the Jewish nation had also become so narrow, they had so many steps that they had to do in order to gain eternity. I feel many of the religions and denominations today do likewise. You know, you're not Lutheran, you're not welcome. If you're not Methodist, you're not welcome. If you're not confirmed in this church, you're not welcome. And yet I believe in one thing, and that is, I only have two commandments to live and love one another. All right. If Christ were to come today, I think that he would see too many of the people on the other side of the walls we've built, and that it's impossible for them to attend his dinner, his banquet, or associate with us. So he'd go looking for others to attend, even as he is offering his nail-pierced hand to do so. I think the second thing is we should turn up in the same strange places as of those we want to impact. Isn't that our calling? We are urged to fellowship with those with whom God has shared his invitation. As we heard in the text in Matthew, he calls them the least. But I also think it calls them my brothers and my sisters. None of us who breathe the pure air of the gospel and enjoy its healing power can debate that fact. That is our call. What many have a problem with is meeting others where they live and sitting down and being with them. This church has a great missional history. We have the Broadway Bridge Project, which has served on his throne. Yet we need to still go there and shake the hand of the dirty, the bloody, the ill-fed person to know what they have to live in. We recently had a clothing drive where we took 129 blankets, gloves, hats, and socks to the homeless. You know what to expect in the next few days here in Arkansas. Can you imagine what it's like in Fargo and Moorhead, 48 below zero? Thank God that there is an architect out there that is willing to give of himself to help build those projects. I think it comes as no surprise that we are guilty, constantly drawing boundaries or building barriers or walls around ourselves, our neighborhoods, our congregations, our values, so that when those who have slipped into poverty or crime or hopelessness come into view, we just simply don't let them in our convenient lifestyle. It's not that we hate those people. We just don't want to be right next door to them or sitting at a table with them. In the first church I attended in northern Minnesota, it was sometimes customary for the men who worked on the farms to come in after having milked cows and go directly to church from the farm. We knew when they got there. We even knew when they would slip in and sit in the back pew. There was something about that alien smell, that cow smell. It was nasty. Even when the pastor shook hands with them, you'd see the pastor take a half a step back and just extend his hand up. Because you know what? That alien smell permeated the whole congregation. How about the next time we have communion? Is there somebody in here that you don't know? I challenge you to make it a point to come with them as they kneel here at the altar to receive the blessings of God. You don't have to strike up a conversation. You just have to take communion and then pray to God for the person kneeling next to you. How about coming to the Broadway Bridge Project? Offering your time as a server, a cook, or a cleanup expert. Notice I didn't say dishwasher. This is a new titles. How about helping with the backpack program, where we're feeding 18 children, which amounts to about 65 people? What the architect is calling us to learn is to do the same with every human being we encounter. Let us learn to say to every person we experience, God says yes, and so do I. If we do any less, we run a chance of discovering that the banquet hall is full, and we have given up our place at the table to someone that was homeless, dirty, or reeked of that alien smell. When life is over and when our time here comes to an end, just as the church year has for us today at midnight, the masquerade stops. The masks will all come off, and then we'll hear the shouts, "Surprise! Surprise!" Guess who was here all the time? There's no need for those who we know and love to change the pattern after the great architects. We just simply need to do as he says. When he says to you, "I love you,"